been to 2 different Final Fours with 2 different teams, which doesn't happen often. He's shown a lot of traits that we look for in previous Raptors players, second-round picks, and he's just cut from that same cloth of just being a competitor and like I said, a proven winner. That, I don't think he's a finished product, even though he's a senior. He's got a lot of room for growth still. So just one of these guys that get in our program, see what he can do, and he's going to fight for everything he can get.
You were talking the other day about some of the takeaways that you guys had from watching the playoffs and the finals in particular, in terms of like playing through physicality, defensive mindset, versatility, and all of that. Fair to say that those are some of the common denominators that you guys saw in the 2 guys that you drafted over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I think we see guys that when the game gets tough and winning time happens, like these are guys that they won't back away from that fight. They'll run to it, and they'll do all the little things, and hopefully the skill development comes with just working our development program from there.
You mentioned there's maybe more upside with where is that growth that you guys potentially see with Elijah?
I think he's one of these guys that he's got some positional versatility that maybe is a little bit untapped at the next level. Like he can probably guard 1 through 3, but then offensively, work on his ball skills and see how much like on the ball stuff he can do. I think as a shooter, pretty much everybody can improve with when guys are focusing on basketball all the time, instead of in college when you're kind of focusing on other stuff too. You just get way more shooting reps in. So I think that generally, if you're working on the right things, like you can get some growth in that.
Last year you were able to load up on 2nd-round picks. This year none. Was it the market change, or did your philosophy change?
I would say it was probably more of our own choice to not like try to be too active in terms of getting back in after our pick. There was a little bit of movement around our pick with some teams trying to get in, and we felt really comfortable with where it was at, to where, it was just kind of, we could have been active if we wanted to, but it doesn't feel like anything to do it just to do it. And then we just were, as soon as our pick went off, we've been working the phones pretty good to see what the market might look like after the draft. And that's kind of what we're working on right now, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think we'll probably end the night with some pretty good players regardless of just one pick, but we're going to do what we can to try to fill out the summer league and then training camp, that sort of stuff.
You guys don't have a ton of roster spots open, not a ton of financial flexibility. Does this feel like the roster that you think you could see sort of coming into the season with, or do you think there's still work to be done?
I would say there's always probably a little bit more work to be done. I think that's what we'll do the next few days is really look at it a little bit harder and see what, from a free agency standpoint, like you said, we don't have a ton of room to work with, but there's always a little bit of tweaking that can happen. And I mean, again, we'll see what the undrafted market looks like as well, and just kind of take a little step back and look at the bigger picture and see where the biggest holes are in terms of, at least at the start of the year, what we need to look at. And then, I mean, it's always just it's a process of getting to training camp. I mean, ideally getting training camp healthy and seeing what that group looks like, which it might look a lot different than what it looks like on paper right now once you get everybody on the court together. And then you get a little bit better idea from there what's really missing heading into the next deadline. So there's definitely a little bit of work to happen between now and camp. But, in the grand scheme of things, we're still trying to fine tune the roster for the longer term.
Thanks very much, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, guys.